Hey everyone, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we are talking about Amazon because Amazon is a monopoly and prove me wrong. Now here's what's going on, and as I've been researching this is absolutely insane, and it actually makes me rather angry. But the article that I'm about to talk about has prompted me to actually start writing my own article on why Amazon is both a predator and a monopoly. And I'm kind of digressing here because we're going to discuss a very specific topic, and I will get to what I'm talking about with my own article here. But this is coming from multiple sources, but the Wall Street Journal is the one that broke this story in the last 24 hours. And to quote one of the articles that I've been looking at, I believe this is Business Insider, Amazon has been using the startup investment process to help it make its own competing products, according to a new report from the Wall Street Journal's Dana Mattioli and Cara Lombardo, and I hope I'm pronouncing those names right. Now, the Wall Street Journal spoke with dozens of startup founders, investors, and advisors who said Amazon met with or invested in their companies only later to build their own products directly competing with this smaller company or startup, and these Amazon-made products often went on to go ahead and crush the competition because Amazon has the massive size to mass produce this for much cheaper than the competition and to meet a wider audience than a lot of their startups. This is a huge, serious problem that we have right now. Now, with this, the journal discovered several examples of Amazon's investments leading to an in-house product development. For example, Living Social, which was a deals website, I remember Living Socials, told the journal that after Amazon took a 30% stake in the company, it began requesting troves of data from the company, hiring away its critical employees, and literally contacting Living Social's clients to offer a better deal than what Living Social was doing. In another example, investors from the quote-unquote Alexa fund purchased a stake in the startup Nucleus, which made a video communication device for the home. 8 months later, after gaining access to Nucleus's plans and financials, Amazon announced the Echo Show, which was an Alexa-enabled device with a large video screens, and by virtue of this, sales of the Nucleus consumer device quickly declined, and the company has basically pivoted into selling exclusively to the healthcare market, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, Nucleus sued Amazon and later settled with Nucleus for $5 million, but did not admit any wrongdoing, according to the report. And by virtue of that, as I was putting together my notes, not just for my article, but also for this video, I checked out the Nucleus website myself, and man, their product is exactly what Amazon put out with the Echo Show. Seriously, go ahead and check it out yourself on nucleuslife.com. This is not a product endorsement of Nucleus or Amazon Echo Show, which I never endorse. It is an exercise in a ripoff that Amazon did to make the Echo Show. And if I was a founder of Nucleus, I would seriously have it in for Jeff Bezos. That's just unconscionable. Other companies like Defying Crowds, Vocal Life, and Ubi or UBI, which made voice operating speaker systems similar to Echo, also told the Wall Street Journal that Amazon had met with them or invested in them. Then later, basically, Amazon used their technology. Now, add to all of this the various verticals that Amazon has literally kicked the door in and started taking ideas or hindering competitors in, as they have the cash on hand to basically undercut, undermine, buy, or destroy their competition. Media and entertainment. They are making movies and everything through Amazon Prime, and I am going to detail all of this in my article. News sources, they bought the Washington Post and others. The retail, that's an obvious one. Online hosting, Amazon Web Services is massive. They're in the energy sector. They're in transportation, directly competing with FedEx, DHL, UPS, and on. The smart home products, where they basically destroyed Nucleus to make the Echo Show and other products, not to mention smart home everything. thing. The healthcare industry, they are actively bidding on maintaining that data for like the United States government and others. Government services in general, building hundreds of millions of dollars of Knox and SOX for places like the CIA and other entities. Straight up startup ripoffs, as I just mentioned here. Robotics, as they're diving into this. Not to mention Jeff Bezos himself being the richest man in the world, being worth something like $170 billion, something like that, taking his wealth outside of Amazon and investing in things like space startups and other things that are massively just accumulating wealth and other things and crushing competition. But here's the problem. With all of this that I talk about, the problem is that we, you and I, and the governments that we elect and represent have basically let Amazon get way out of control here, insanely out of control. But, and this is a huge but, we need Amazon. At the moment, we need Amazon. We have let them run wild, bull in the china shop that continues to grow, but we need them because at the moment we are going through a pandemic, and by virtue of that, we have no choice but to have Amazon in our critical supply chain because they've made themselves critical, and so we cannot ignore this. If Amazon were to go down, there are millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of consumers worldwide that would lose access to critical things like what they need, groceries, medication, all of these things. And so we cannot ignore what Amazon is. But that doesn't mean as we emerge from the pandemic, we need to turn a blind eye. We need to let them continue consuming every vertical they desire to go into. We had serious problems in the 1990s and early 2000s with what we perceived as a monopoly from Microsoft, both here and in the European Union. And Microsoft is kindergarten compared to what Amazon is doing and what they are consuming right now. It is just unconscionable to me that they would take, let's say, novel ideas like this, invest in these things only to rip them off and make them Amazon brands without fully, let's say, buying the company out and declaring that intention. Nucleus could have been bought completely and basically been put out of existence to make the Echo Show, but Amazon kept them around. Their website is still there. They are still a company that has basically been cut off at the knees, making the actual product that Amazon has put out to the rest of us as an Amazon innovation when it is a complete and utter lie, because Nucleus had it first, and you can see it for yourself at nucleuslife.com. This is what I'm talking about. And so the question that I have is, how do we combat this? How do we, or who do we elect, or how do we combat this, and who do we elect to make sure that we are keeping Amazon in check? And this is not a United States thing, or a Canada thing, or a Europe thing, or wherever Amazon is. This is a global thing. When you have a company that has more cash on hand than the government, how does a government actually rein them in, make that control, and then talk to other governments around the world, whether it's the United Nations or NATO or whatever, to say, you know what, we are all going to impose the same restrictions for monopoly and growth on Amazon. And while we all appreciate getting all of the random crap that we get from Amazon, or books, or even web hosting, or whatever that is, there is a limit and there is a line. And what they are doing is predatory under virtually any definition of monopoly and predatory laws. And believe me, I have been researching this for my article that is going to be thousands of words long and has interviews and everything else in this. This is a huge, huge problem, but I wanted to address this one specifically before I release an article that is going to be extremely comprehensive. I could probably make it a book by the time I was done with it. And by virtue of this, this is your news of the day, and I'd love to hear from you on what we should do about Amazon. Leave them alone because they are the capitalist dream, cut them off at the knees, and all of this. I believe in an equal starting line. I don't believe in an equal finish, but I also believe that if we've got new and innovative ideas, they should have at least a modicum of shelter to explore and expand that idea to enter into the marketplace to actually compete, because if not, all we have are old dinosaurs that we are forced to use. And eventually, at some point, Amazon is going to be that, whether they like it or not, and whether we realize it or not. And that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online and keep Echo products out of your home. Thanks, guys.